And another thing, it's high time that we as Africans stop with this lie, with this facade that all Africans are brothers and sisters and we love each other and it's, Gazlam, one love, whatever. No, because that's not the reality, guys, especially when it comes to this whole thing of xenophobia in South Africa. Suddenly, the rest of Africa is talking like, guys, we're supposed to be one, this and that. Have you guys seen what's happening in the rest of Africa? I can't even say the things that they're doing or post any pictures or videos, but I implore you, go and see what's happening in Libya. Libya is in Africa, right? Go and see how they're treating dark-skinned Africans there. We're talking levels like slavery and so forth. Do you guys think I can move to Sudan or to Egypt or whatever and open my own spaza shop there amongst the locals and just start selling my stuff and play music and everyone will, support me and let me do what I want to do? No, of course not. Have you guys seen what Rwandan rebel troops have done in the Congo, in the eastern side of Congo? Is that brotherly love? Is that the brotherly love that you guys are talking about? Mali was fighting for its life, trying to expel the French and everything else. What did the rest of West Africa do? Nigeria, or whatever, Guinea, Ghana. They were ready to go to war with Mali and the rest of the guys that have expelled the French from that side. So there's no such a thing as African brotherly love. Everyone is just out there trying to, get their own. Now, the only reason why people can do it in South Africa and actually march and also toy and speak out is because South Africa, unlike a lot of these other African countries, has systems, with your human rights laws, this and that, and the constitution is quite stable there. So everyone, has a chance to, speak and say their piece and everything else. In fact, if I'm being truly honest with you, the only people I really feel for are actually the kids, the kids who are in between, who basically have maybe one South African parent and one foreign parent and so forth, because they might, see some type of confusion and so forth. But even with that being said, it's up to the parents to educate the children on what's happening, For example, I myself, I was born in South Africa, but both my parents are from the DRC Congo. I was called a Kwere as well, many times from an early age, but I didn't take it personal and I still don't because I understand. I'm a critical thinker and this is how it's supposed to be. And the best part about actually being born in one country but having your heritage from another country is the perspective that you get. I don't see things from a subjective point of view, but rather from an objective point of view, so there are no emotions attached. I just see things for what they truly are, clear cut as day, and logic is the order of the day. So I implore the rest of you guys who are, half Zimbabwean, half South African, or your parents were born there and you were born somewhere else or whatever. First of all, there's no such a thing as South Gerian and things like that, guys. It's okay to recognize both cultures if your parents come from both places, but always remember that you are also unique in your own special way. If one of your parents is from South Africa and the other one is not, then you have your eyes open to both cultures and you should embrace that. Never try to be something that you're not 100%, because you'll never be truly accepted. And in doing that, you might do one of two things. One, be ashamed of yourself, or two, you try to kick down and look down on others. I've seen Zimbabwean people as well, in general, a lot of them who try really hard to be South African, that they end up looking down on other foreigners and calling them Kwere. And that's not how it's supposed to be, guys. Embrace both sides of the culture if you have a chance. Let's just stop with this whole facade that, the rest of Africa is kumbaya and only South Africa is the naughty, naughty child. There's no such a thing, guys. Wake up.
Teasing is spreading across West Africa. West Africans will never talk about that. West African women are being raped on the continent in the same region by teas. West Africans will not talk about that. West African women are being trafficked into the Arab world for sexual exploitation. West Africans will not talk about that. West African men are dying in boats trying to seek better opportunities outside of West Africa because the continent is not doing well economically. West Africans will not talk about solutions to that. But you see, when it comes to xenophobia in South Africa, that is when everybody in West Africa becomes a professor. They already understand everything about West Africa. They know their history. They understand how they went to help South Africa during apartheid and things like that. That help that you gave to South Africa, use that help and help yourself now. It is time for West Africa to begin to solve West African problem. Mali is currently under siege by teas, at least according to Western media. The question is, what are West Africans doing about that? Nothing. But you people complain about xenophobia in South Africa. And that's what I've been saying. Many of the activism in especially West Africa is just fake activism. The reason you want to talk about xenophobia in South Africa is because it is very, very easy. All you have to do is turn on your camera and just speak. But when it comes to solving the problem of West Africa, when it comes to talking about uncomfortable truth on the continent of Africa, especially in West Africa where you belong, you will be silent because you are not a real activist.
Is when I tell all the foreigners that are in South Africa, from Zimbabwe and the southern hinterland, that it is right. You must leave the country. They must leave. Why? Because maybe South Africa never went to war. The foreigners, when they come into the country, they allow the white people to abuse them because they don't have permits, they don't have the right papers. So where the South African employer, the white man, must be paying 3,000 rand to an employee, he can pay 1,500 to a Zimbabwean.
Okay.
Where you can have one worker, you can have two. And the South Africans, when they come in there and they unionize and they want the salary put at the right, the problem now are the foreigners who are accepting less salaries than those that must be paid by the government statutory requirement. So the business community is breaking the law by employing unregistered foreigners at the expense of employing the locals who must be demanding the equal salary. I look around and I must be objective. Based on that, people must go home. And to be more truthful, any foreigner who is in South Africa is not going there to live there and die there. We are just going there to make money. After we make money, we want to go back to our countries. That's the honest truth. So when the owners and the local residents are asking for space to do that, then we must also accept it. But the most artificial level is that some of these people that come to South Africa, those that have education and are qualified, will do the right thing and get papers and contribute towards the tax.
Okay.
But then those that come to make quick buck, then that's where crime is breeding, where drugs are breeding, where human trafficking is happening, where illegitimate business is happening. And West, particularly Nigeria and Ghana, the biggest import they've brought to South Africa is not technology, churches, prophets, contraception, and terminating pregnancies, bleaching, and hair, what? Which are, you look around and say, yes, you're my brother, but this does not really contribute towards the economy. In some certain cases, in Hillbrow, in Durban, where I've lived, you actually find that they're now running syndicates of permanent destruction of the South African community. They don't do drugs, Nigerians, but they will sell them to the local people. So you want to put all those factors together, maybe, and I think you'll be able to understand what you call xenophobia or Afrophobia. Let's call it number one, economic exclusion. Number two, an industrial with extraction model, which does not allow expansion of business. And thirdly, you might want to look at that as misunderstanding of a historical